countdown. Oh, we're recording. Oh, that's happened.
Yeah, I'm recording.
Okay. Now I'm all nervous. I don't know what to say just because I might say something absolutely ridiculous like some sort of Freudian cock. Slip.
We're going to talk about England versus New England, but first I want to introduce people to you. But first, before we do anything, we have to hold our breath for 5 seconds. So go ahead. All right. So this is a brand new idea. You know, it's a blog, it's a podcast, a video cast. It's basically an experience for my friends and fans that I want to just be me. I don't want to be Carl the developer. I don't want to be Carl the keto guy, you know, Carl the musician or the cook or whatever. I just want to talk about life and talk to my friends.
Well, you're kind of lucky because I've spent time with you and you're actually really lovely to be with. So I think it's going to work out well. I just hope that I can live up to the to this high standard.
All right, so I got a new title. Carl's friends suck up to him on the podcast. That's
let's leave him to a false sense of security, then bring him down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, everybody, this is my very good friend Dan Greef, and you can't see him because it's an audio-only podcast, but he just waved to you. That's he just waved at everybody. He's from London, and you remember they were interviewing the Beatles, and you said, "Where are you from?" London. Where London? London, England.
Well, can I just say, by the way, right, we I'm sure you get this as well, Carl. People say, like, where you're from. I'm not from London. I'm from Norwich, which is 2 hours away from London. But I guess to an American, it's all just London, right? It's like saying, where you from? And you're like, hey, are you from LA or New York? You know, it's like there's nothing in between.
Right.
Basically, where I come from, we're all farmers. So, I speak a bit like that, don't I? That's how we speak in Norfolk. And, we've got like a sort of countryside accent. That's how we speak over here.
So what's really cool is that I was born in New London, Connecticut. And we have a Thames River, but we call it the Thames. And
Wallies.
Yeah, I know. All right, I got to write that one down because I have a list of slang words and I want to ask you about Wallies. Okay, that goes on here. How do you spell that? W-A-L-L-Y-S?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I-E or Y?
I don't know. I never really write it down in my emails or anything. I just sort of throw it around. I think probably with a I-E. I don't know.
Anyway, so New London is about 1/100th of 1/10 of 1% the size of Old London.
Okay.
And the river is small too. But here's one cool thing, is that 30 minutes north of New London is where we call Norwich. Not Norwich. Norwich.
Okay, so
isn't that crazy?
This is what I love. So the Pilgrim Fathers thought, we're leaving Britain. We've had enough of this place. Get me to Plymouth straight away on that ship because I'm fed up of this place.
Yeah.
Turn up in America. Where are we? Plymouth, Norwich, London.
I know. We thought we tossed you guys off, and then everybody and then the Brits come over and they name everything. What the heck?
Yeah, you just need some originality, guys. You shouldn't turn up and just come up saying new. You know, come on, it's ridiculous. And don't blame me for this. You know, like my ancestors have to blame.
Likewise.
It's your ancestors. Yeah.
Likewise.
We stuck here and just got on with it. You're the ones who went over there and thought, we don't want to be part of you, but actually at the same time, going to nick the names. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I know. Okay. And it's crazy. We have Greenwich, Connecticut, which we actually call it Greenwich.
Oh, you call it Greenwich? That's good of you. I thought you call it Greenwich or something.
We have Norwalk. Norwalk.
Newark. Yeah, we've got Newark here. See, this is the weird thing. Those place names have all come about from like Saxon words and Norman words, right? So I did this with kids, and okay, this is a boring bit of the podcast, everyone. I did this with kids when I used to be a history teacher, and we used to literally look at the landscape, and this is quite incredible. You'd see like Viking settlements along the rivers. You'd see the Saxon settlements where the farms were. You'd see the Norman settlements of the Roman names where the cities were. And basically, our names are like, you know, a complete mixture of these different cultures. Right. And then you guys just completely just nicked it and butchered it. No offense.
I'll have that complaint put in with the authorities right away.
Yeah. Please do. I'm sure that Beeden would be very upset about that, or
Beeden,
or Deanold Trump, or how do you pronounce these words? Because you like to change everything. Anyway.
Yeah. So you're from the OG London and the OG Norwich. And,
yeah, exactly. Well, Norwich is a beautiful city. You've got to come next time you're over here.
I have been to Norwich. I sang as a boy soprano in Norwich Cathedral.
Oh, there you go.
I sang in Westminster Abbey, dude.
Hang on a minute. You're a bit older than me, so you probably went to Norwich before I did. If you're like, it depends how much older than me you are.
It was 1980.
I was born in 81. So you've been to Norwich before I have, and I was
before
born
you
there.
existed, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, you were probably being conceived while I was singing in your cathedral.
Dad. I never realised it came out of this. I didn't realise that glasses were hereditary because we've got the same glasses on.
Don't we?
Yeah, I didn't realise that got passed on through the family tree. That's amazing,
That's crazy.
Cole. Yeah, amazing.
So is your hair going to be as gray as mine in what, 10, 15, 20 years? I don't know how old you are, but you're in your 30s, right?
I'm 42 now.
You're 42?
My birthday was actually on Sunday, just gone. Yeah, so I turned 42. You know what? You get to a certain age where you sort of stop celebrating, don't you? You don't mind, like, you know, if your birthday is nice, but you don't get quite as excited. I think when I turned 40 2 years ago, I stopped kind of celebrating as much. This is how someone feels, by the way, to not answer the question about how grey they're going, which is basically, I am going quite grey quite fast, Carl. So I'll be catching you up in no time, I'm sure.
So I just want to tell the peeps how I know you. I learned about you. You learned about me through the Two Keto Dudes podcast. And then you started a low carb UK podcast, or UK low carb. I can never figure out which goes first.
UK low carb. That's right. Yeah. The podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we were guests on your podcast, and you're just a delightful person. So we began hanging out, you know, every time I come to London for a conference or something like that. And you're also a chocolatier.
Whoa. Okay. There's some lines you've crossed here, boy.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, firstly, can I just say, you know, when you meet somebody and you think, okay, I'm going to spend a day with this person. I hope we get on well. Well, with you, it's effortless, which is really cool. So when you came in May, we just weren't, you know, we hung out in your room. We were chatting about stuff. We talked about Portugal, about food.
We had a
quite
steak
a lot.
3 feet long.
Oh, it was good. And then, you know, we went to like a nice little jazz club in the evening for some good music. And it was just really cool, wasn't it? So that was really awesome. And then, like, we've kind of got this common connection really through podcasting and also food. So I run a food business. And, okay, there's a difference between a chocolatier and a chocolate maker, okay? And this is what I didn't realise that I entered into a world of pain when I mentioned this on a Facebook group.
Okay, let me guess. So a chocolatier is somebody who makes things out of chocolate, and you make the chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. A bit like a barista makes the coffee. Yeah. But the coffee roaster would be the one who sources the beans and roasts them and gets the flavour combination. It's like saying, what do you call those fancy waiters that serve wine compared to the person that actually like makes the wine? Sommelier, that's it, exactly.
Sommelier, yeah, that's the word my wife can never pronounce correctly. Somalia? I've been to Somalia. Sommelier.
So when I mentioned this in a Facebook group that I was a chocolatier now, all these chocolate makers got very upset, saying, you know, don't patronize yourself. And I was like, beg your pardon? And it's a real sensitive subject for some people. So yeah, I'm a chocolate maker. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, you are a chocolate maker, and you make sugar-free chocolate, and it's delicious.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
And I have some right here. Yeah, it's great.
You know what? I think with anything like that, like you sort of think, is it possible to make this out of, you know, a keto version of a food? Now, what I find interesting is it's always the fat that makes the thing taste good.
Right.
So actually, if you're making a product sugar-free and fat-free, then you're going to really struggle. But when you're making something with the fat in it, if the cocoa butter is the main thing that makes the chocolate bar, you know, a really good quality chocolate bar, you're not taking any of that stuff out. You're just not putting the nasty stuff in with the sugar.
Yeah.
I'm using the sweeteners instead. So yeah, that's kind of...
I can pretty much make low carb versions of any food, but the only category that we really struggle with is like crispy, you know, starchy things, like, you know, a good pastry dough or a crispy cookie or something like that.
That's the problem, isn't it? It's just it's the texture problem. I think. The flavor, we can get that bit right, but
if pork rinds only tasted like croissants, then we'd have no problem.
Well, actually, in the unit where I am at the moment, the guy who's next door, he's making croissants tomorrow, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to bring some over," and I was like, "Just don't, because I can't resist that. Freshly made by a chef, that's going to be horrific." Yeah. I said, just keep them away. I mean, if I could make that, you know, keto, I'd be very happy, man. Yeah. Richard Morris said that too, didn't he? That's, I think, his thing that he misses too.
Yeah. That's his kryptonite. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Most of us.
All right. So anyway, we're good friends. And every time I go to London, you know, I didn't make it this year.
Oh, really? Already? So is this a conference? The same one you were going to go to that you went to last year?
Yeah. This is Norwegian Developers Conference. Yeah. So I won't be going this year, but it looks like everybody had a good time. All right. So I'm from New England. You're from Old England. And we are separated by a common language sometimes, aren't we?
Sorry, what did you say?
Aren't we?
What? I can't understand a word you're saying.
But, in particular, there's a whole bunch of words and phrases that UK English has that American English doesn't, and vice versa. So I want to give you a list of some of the more confusing ones for me, and maybe you can define them for me, okay?
Okay, I'll try my hardest.
All right, barmy, B-A-R-M-Y.
There's two different versions of that. So barmy can mean two things. It can either mean that's a crazy idea, like, that's a crazy thing to say. That's balmy, completely balmy.
Like a pejorative.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or you could say something is a balmy day. I suppose you'd say it's a warm day. So you'd say it's quite balmy in here.
Well, I would say balmy, B-A-L-M-Y for warm.
Is that what you're saying?
But I'm saying B-A-R-M-Y.
Oh, in that case, that's just crazy then. Yeah, that's just crazy. Wacky. Yeah, that's a bit crazy, yeah.
All right, we all know what bollocks are, but that's on my list. Bollocks. I had to figure out, that meant balls.
Oh, you don't say that in America. You don't say it.
We don't say bollocks. No, that's not an American thing.
I sort of assumed that you did. Okay, I didn't realize there's only been.
No, we say nuts, balls, stones. Oh, stones. My stones.
I've got a little pouch with 2 marbles in. That sort of thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, we say bollocks here.
Big Jim and the twins.
But also, of course, you take that further. You say the dog's bollocks, which means something's amazing.
Yeah, that's really crazy because, I wouldn't consider dog's bollocks to be at the top of the list of desirable bollocks.
We do everything like that in this country. So if something's awfully good, that awful's a terrible word, isn't it? But it means actually a good thing in this country.
Well, we say that. We say, that was awfully good cheesecake or whatever, awfully good coffee.
Oh, you do say that then? Okay. But you don't have
we don't say bollocks. Okay, so arse. A-R-S-E. I mean, anybody who's read Chaucer in high school knows about arse. Yeah, that's your ass.
You call it ass, don't you?
Ass, yeah.
Yeah.
Ass, butt, booty. But then again, boot is... What's boot? B-O-O-T. That's not your butt.
No, we wouldn't... We don't say that. No, we wouldn't say that at all here.
What does boot mean? What is a boot? B-O-O-T.
B-O-O-T, do you mean?
Yeah.
Boots, just a boot that you put on your foot, you mean?
Yeah, but it also means the back of the car, doesn't it?
Oh, I see, like the car boot. Oh, sorry, I'm tired. Yes, yeah, we'd say a car boot. You'd call it a trunk, wouldn't you?
We call it a trunk,
yeah, the boot of the car. Actually, when you think about it, that is a weird expression, isn't it? I don't know why we even use that.
Why would it
is weird,
boot?
yeah, when you think about it, it is odd, yeah.
Well, we call it an ass a booty, right?
Booty. No, we don't really say booty.
Shake your booty.
We'd say booty's like a baby's little sock thing that it wears. That's a booty. That's the only booty we have.
We actually say that too. Those are booties. She's naming booties for her baby. But we also say, whoa, look at that booty.
Do we, Carl? Okay, I don't think we had that conversation. Oh, look at their booty. Well done. Congratulations.
Yeah. All right, bugger all. First of all, let's talk about bugger because that's like a dirty word in English.
That is a dirty word. That is a person who likes to sodomize other people. And in the past, sorry, that's a bit too graphic. But that is literally where it comes from. Bugger means that. Bugger means to sodomize. And that was an insult in the past. Nowadays, obviously not. In the same context.
If you said to a bunch of people, you buggers, it could be construed as offensive.
In the past, I think nowadays, not really. I mean, it's not. Okay. It's just seen as a friendly little insult, really, I suppose, like you cheeky bugger. But then people say a lot of things like that these days, like even the C word, which is that's a nuclear option, right? In this country, in parts, it's not bad.
You know what? In America, cunt is like the worst thing you can call a woman.
Yeah.
But in the UK, and especially like in Ireland,
and Scotland. It's like
Scotland. Yeah, like
every other word sometimes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you come up to what you would call a couple of guys sitting at a bar. You're a couple of cunts. It's like a friendly...
I think you have to know them, really.
Yeah.
Sorry, fathers. I just it just came out, and you just said mass. I'm so sorry for calling you that. I think you have to have the context really for it.
All right, okay, but it's not as potent a word as it is in the United States.
Yeah. It wouldn't have the same potency. I think in England it is actually. I think it's only Scotland and like probably Ireland as well, like you say. They use it a lot more, like it's fine. But then
it's an old word. I mean, it goes back to way before Victorian times.
Oh yeah, I think it's Saxon or something. The F word as well, I think, is like Germanic origins. Yeah.
We can swear on this podcast. It's mine. And
I know. I'm just not a natural swearer. I know. Okay.
All right. Repeat after me. Fuck you, motherfucking fuckers. Go ahead.
Well, talking about the word mother, I can just imagine my mum finding this podcast or recording at some point.
No, you got to pay for it. It's not available offline.
Okay. Fuck you.
It's so polite. It's great. All right. So bugger all just means nothing, right?
Yeah.
I did bugger all today.
I've done bugger all. I've done nothing today. Yeah. Or there's bugger all point. There's no point in anything. Yeah.
All right. Buddy. Butty.
Butty. Oh, like as in a sandwich. Yeah. That's like a chip butty. That's the ultimate carb thing, isn't it? Really, a chip butty. Chips are fries in this country. Or a bacon butty.
Bacon butty. Yeah, I see there. Yeah. So that's like a bacon sandwich. And in the pub, you could get toasties too, right? And that's like a toasted, like a cheese and ham or something?
Yeah, it's basically just a toasted sandwich. Although what they do nowadays, they of course changed it to a panini. And do you know the difference between a toasty and a panini?
About $10.
Yeah, exactly. That's okay. That's my joke gone. Cheers.
Couple of bob.
Yeah, a few bob.
A few bob. First of all, where did bob come from? It's B-O-B, right? Bob.
Yeah, I don't.
Why do you call a pound a bob?
I don't even know where that comes from. I feel so ignorant now.
Couple of bob.
Because, I mean, I don't really say that. You know, some of these things are like a bit generational as well.
True,
I think
yeah.
Some of them are probably like my granddad's generation around the London area rather than the rest of the country. Yeah, a couple of bob.
Couple of
In fact,
bob.
don't forget, there's also Cockney rhyming slang. It could come from there as well.
Oh, Cockney rhyming slang is great.
Have you ever heard the expression Burke? Someone's a Burke.
B-U-R-K.
Yeah, have you know that expression?
No.
Right. Okay. This is interesting. So people say in the UK, like, don't be a Burke, and they mean it in a very kind of childlike, friendly manner, you know, like, oh, don't be silly or whatever.
Don't be a dork. Don't be a dink.
Yeah. But actually it comes from the C word because it's actually Barclay Hunt. And it's exactly. And Berkeley is, or you know, Berkshire, that area. Berkshire Hunt is actually spelled B-E-R-K, which is Burke. So that's where it comes from.
Okay.
So people kind of say Berkshire Hunt, you know, and that's where it comes from. But they didn't realise that it comes from there. Yeah. And the reason that they had this language in London and the East End is because they wanted to use a language and a code that police and the authorities didn't understand.
Right.
And so they'd change the words. So instead of saying curry, you say Ruby Murray, or you say Ruby, you take the first word.
Right.
You know, Berkshire Hunt, you take Burke, the first part, and that's why they do it.
Yeah,
meat, feet. Yeah.
Yeah, and then apples and pears. What does apples and pears stand for? Stairs?
Yeah.
He's going down the apples and pears.
Yeah, the word, no, not ball and chain, was it? Trouble and strife, wife. So they call you wife trouble. They just take the first word and they change it for that reason. Yeah. It's good.
It's so cool. That's so cool, especially when you see the progression of the words and how they go. All right, chippy.
Right, so a chippy is a place you go get fish and chips from, which apparently is our national dish. That's what people seem to think.
Yeah.
You know, we just live off fish and chips, which I did at one time, and that's why I got metabolically fucked.
Yeah, so, me too. Yeah. And there's a lot of good fish and chips in New England as well as England, and it's made from the same fish, cod, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. Same ocean. Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, same ocean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love it.
All right. Core blimey.
Right. My granddad was born in 1908, and he was a real Norfolk boy, and we've actually got recordings. My dad would take a dictaphone and record him speaking and about his experiences in the First World War as a child.
Wow.
And describing the smell of the bombs and the Zeppelins come from the Germans and everything.
Oh, man.
And he used to say something I noticed in the recordings. He used to always say, core blast. And I used to be like, core blast. And it's the same sort of thing, like, core blimey. Like, that's amazing. That's incredible.
Where did the core come from? C-O-R. Do you know?
You know what? I don't know. I think it's just like a,
yeah,
core.
Whoa. It's just an interjection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah. Ooh, blind me. If that's what it is, you know, poke me in the eye. I don't know. It's weird.
Right. Maybe.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And then there's a similar one, Gordon Bennett. Gordon Bennett. That's terrible.
Yeah. Gordon Bennett. But the weird thing is, when I was a kid, I remember picking up on that and saying, Gordon Bennett. And my mum told me off and said, don't swear. And I was like, what? I thought it was just a person like Gordon Bennett.
That's
obviously
funny.
It's a name.
Don't take the Gordon's name in vain.
Yeah. St. Gordon of Bennetshire. He was a good man. Yeah, exactly. It's funny, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so here's another one. Dosh, D-O-S-H, dosh.
Dosh, yeah, money. So just another... That could be Cockney rhyming slang, for instance. There's all the expressions where those things come from.
Like cash or dash?
Cash, yeah, again, the same thing. Cash, dosh. You can call it... There's also things like a pony. Is that like £200, I think?
Yeah.
There's all these different expressions for money that all come from the East End in Cockney rhyming slang, yeah.
Wow, okay. Have a strop.
Strop?
Have a strop.
You mean like a strop-on?
No. S-T-R-O-P. Well, I don't know what it is, actually. It's have a strop.
Well, you could say it's like a tantrum. If you're having a strop, you're like having a bit of a
meltdown?
Yeah, you're being stroppy. A bit of a meltdown. Stroppy could also mean you're being sarcastic and a bit rude. And a bit like snarky with somebody. You know, that sort of
I know
thing.
what that means. Yeah, that's a word over here, too. Snarky.
Yeah.
All right, knackered. Something we never say in the United States. I'm really knackered.
Well, originally it comes from you take the horses to the knacker yard to get them like melted down into glue. That's where it comes from.
Ooh.
Yeah, so when the horse is exhausted and it's going to be put down because it's been a taxi horse its whole Victorian life or whatever,
right?
You take it to the knacker's yard, and the knacker's yard, they literally take the body's bits and melt down the bones to glue or whatever. So if you're knackered, you're as exhausted as a dying horse. That's what it really meant.
Okay.
So you go into the knacker's yard.
I'm really tired. I'm knackered.
Yeah. Knackered means exhausted, yeah.
All right. Anybody who's seen any kind of British TV knows what the loo is, so we won't even go in there. That's the bathroom.
The loo?
Naff. N-A-F-F.
Yeah, something's a bit pathetic. You don't like it much. You just think that's a bit cheesy and a little bit, ugh. If I said, look, I've got a doily around the plates at my dinner table, you'd be like, that's a bit naff, Dan. What are you doing? Oh. And then I'd go to my room and I'd cry. Just whole.
Okay, nutter. N-U-T-T-E-R.
Yeah, that's what you are. So nutter is a crazy person. And that can be a term of affection, though, because you can say, oh, you nutters. In fact, I called my kids out on my email the other day about being away from a birthday. And it's like, I was away with my grief nutters, It's like a nice, it's an affectionate term as well. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of your kids, how's your boy doing?
Yeah, he's all attached to himself, which is good.
So for those that probably don't know this, but his son sliced the tip of his finger off or got it stuck in a door, right?
Yeah, someone sort of pulled the door on it and it was pretty nasty. But he's all fine now. And he's only 4 years old, so I think they bounce back pretty quick at that age, don't they? Which is,
What a trooper.
Yeah, I think, if that was me, I'd be really milking it for everything it's worth still, saying, poor me, poor me.
Yeah.
I'm just really worried that when he's older and he flips a bird, he's going to be a bit stumpy. That's my worry.
Well, the cool thing is now he's got a story for life that he can tell.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody's complaining about their life, he's like, oh, yeah? Well, my top of my finger came off. And my dad brought me to the hospital and they put it back on.
In your face.
In your face. All right, pillock. P-I-L-L-O-C-K. Pillock.
Okay, that suddenly sounded out of context, like you're calling me that then.
No, I don't know what it means. Tell me.
Oh, you don't know what it means?
No.
Okay, if you say someone's a pillock, it means you're an idiot. Like, pillock. Yeah. But again, I just, I feel like I want to know where these words come from now because, obviously these are mostly slang words, aren't they? Because they're used in a...
Yeah, some of them, yeah.
They're going to be slang because it's like obviously just normal speak between people. I don't think ever the Queen would have said to Prince Charles, actually, no, she probably did say he's a pillock, actually, now I think about it. But I can't imagine it being the Queen's English, but maybe it was. Yeah.
I got a joke for you that involves the Queen and Prince Charles.
Go on.
So, Prince Charles gets an invitation. This is when he was the prince and the Queen was alive. Gets an invitation to go speak up in northern Blumshire somewhere to the PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
Yeah.
So he gets ready to go, and he gets this fur cap, and he puts it on. And Camilla says, "Charles, where are you going in that fur cap?" He says, "Well, I'm going up to northern Blumshire to speak to the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals." She says, "Charlie, are you telling me you're going to go speak to the bloody people for the ethical treatment of animals wearing a fur cap?" And he says, well, Mother told me to wear it. She says, the bloody Queen of England told you to wear a fur cap to go speak to Peter? And he said, yes. I said, Mother, I'm going up to Northern Blumblumshire to speak to the people for the ethical treatment of animals. She says, wear the fox hat.
Oh, I do like that. Very good. Very good. Where the fox hat, you pillock?
Pillock. Does that make me a plonker? Is a pillock and a plonker the sort of
I know
same
exactly
thing?
where that comes from. So, plonker is the expression for wine, isn't it?
It is?
So originally, a plonker was alcoholic, and that's why, because they drink too much plonk, which is like an expression for cheap wine.
Oh.
But now it's kind of evolved into just, you're a bit silly, you know?
Okay.
So that's where
silly
it comes from originally.
plonker.
Yeah, you silly plonker, you plonker. But yeah, it would have been an alcoholic originally, like the same, what's the expression when someone skew whiff? Do you know that one?
Skew whiff, no.
Yeah, we had a prime minister in the early 20th century called Asquith, and he's an alcoholic. So if you're skew whiff, you're like Asquith, you're a bit drunk. So that's where it comes from, yeah.
Okay. All right, how about a punter?
Yeah, punter's just a customer, somebody who turns up and you'll sell something to. But where I live in Cambridge now, we have punts, which are these boats, and you actually stand on them. I'd love to take you out on the river.
Wait a minute. I've heard of punting on the cam. Is that a thing?
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of similar. Maybe it's got an origin to the same thing, like punting, buying.
So is it like a gondola, or is it some kind of...
a lot more low-key than that, yeah.
Okay.
It's more like it's a big box on the water on the gondola, which is like beautiful and gorgeous. But very similar, like with a big stick at the back, like a pole. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, skint. S-K-I-N-T.
Oh, yeah, you got no money. You're completely brassic. You can say as well, brassic. I've got nothing.
Brassic.
Yeah, I'm skint. I've got no money at all. Yeah.
Can you lend me a $5? I'm skint.
No.
All right. No, I'm saying that I'm using it as
Oh, I see. Sorry.
That's an appropriate use.
Just took over there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Snog. S-N-O-G.
Yeah, that's to, well, do you know the difference in a French kiss and a Belgian kiss?
No.
A Belgian kiss has got more phlegm.
Oh, God, that's terrible.
Flemish, you know, anyway.
Flemish. Yikes.
Yeah, so that's a French kiss.
Snogging, yeah.
Snogging, yeah. Going out for a little snog.
All right. Sod off. S-O-D-O-F-F. Sod off. What does that mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a bit like bugger off, isn't it?
Okay.
Sod, same origin, but in this case, just is very light. It just means, yeah, just go away, you Wally. Yeah. Not in a rude way.
Oh, yeah, Wally. That's the second word you used. I put that down in the list. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You Wally, yeah.
All right, this is one I never heard until I watched some Gordon Ramsay, and he basically said, "Are you trying to take the piss out of me?" I was like, "What?
Yeah, you're
what
taking
the
the
fuck
Mickey
does
out of
that
someone.
mean?"
Yeah. So
Take the piss
so
out.
so piss is a really interesting one because in America, for instance, you say I'm pissed, which means you're angry.
I'm angry. Yeah.
In this country, it means you're drunk.
But it can also mean angry. Or is that because of American
I think
influence?
it's because American English has come back. Like you said about booty earlier on, I noticed that that's come into this country in the last 20 years through like pop stars, I guess, and actors and stuff. And I'm pissed has become the same, but actually we'd use that in this country to say, you know, I'm drunk. And in the context of pissed off, like that's the same as saying you're pissing me off. Is exactly saying like I'm pissed.
Okay.
It's the same context of I'm angry. I'm annoyed.
Right.
Yeah.
And so taking the piss out of me means, are you what? Are you?
Well, you're trying to make me look ridiculous. You're trying to make a joke out of me. He'd probably be saying in an angry context of you're making me look stupid here. Thank you very much.
Are you fucking with me? Right? Maybe?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not, Carl. No, not.
No. But I'm trying to figure out what these things mean.
I'm a very polite man. I feel
yes,
like,
you are. Yeah, I know.
I'm on the back foot here.
I know. All right, so toff, T-O-F-F.
Oh, yeah, toff is someone who's a posh person who probably comes to the aristocracy. In fact, they do come to the aristocracy. Like Boris Johnson is a toff. And it's used as an insulting term, you know.
But wait a minute, isn't he like a Bertie Wooster kind of toff, like a poser kind of thing?
Well, okay, I don't know if this is true for sure, but I've heard the term snob it comes from a Latin expression which means not aristocrat. But And basically, it was somebody who wanted to be like an aristocrat, but who wasn't.
Yeah.
And I think that you could say there's a lot of that sort of thing as well. You know, there's like toffs are probably people who want to be a little bit too.
Or maybe they are, but they're just entitled and they don't, you know, they've been slackers their whole lives.
Yeah, probably.
And that's what I kind of think of when, when I read Woodhouse, Jeeves and Wooster, is that Jeeves is the manservant and he knows everything. And Wooster is the aristocratic, entitled, do nothing, who doesn't know anything and just, tries to pretend that, he's aristocratic, but really is an idiot, isn't he? He's a, wait a minute,
exactly.
let me look, he's a pillock.
See, I think in this country though, the class system is really pervasive. I think it's not the same in the States. I think in America you have a different kind of class system, probably based on money and area, probably. But I think in this country it's very like there's a strong sense of like trying to be by a lot of people upper middle class, which is kind of in this country would be people who went to the private schools with aristocrats who don't have a title, but they think they're aristocratic in every other way. And I find it a little bit sickening, really. This country's got...
It's very sickening,
It's just horrible, yeah.
Well, we have the same thing here. It's just in, money talks here, right?
Yeah.
We produce people like Donald Trump,
Yeah.
He's like the essence of tough, isn't he?
Yeah, but actually I read something really interesting about him. His dad was a psychopath. I mean, actually, clinically, he was a psychopath.
Yeah, so is he.
You can see that apparently the way that Donald Trump reacts to things is very much a reaction to his childhood.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, in the society we're in, psychopathic tendencies seem to do very well. That is a shocking thing, right? You can be somebody who's bold, who makes up stories, who reinvents reality. Yeah. And it can do really well in our society, incredibly. It's quite scary.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you keep up the appearance that, you have money.
Yeah.
When you really don't, All right, so tosser. Speaking of Donald Trump.
Okay, to toss is to masturbate. And so,
wait a minute, you said that so cleanly. Jerk off, wanker. Tosser.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Someone's a wanker, the tosser. Yeah, that all comes from that origin. You're quite right, Cole.
Okay, toss it off. Yeah. All right. And here's the last one. Wheelie bin.
Oh, okay.
This is a word that does not exist in the United States, even though I have two sitting in front of my garage.
Oh, it's just the name. I was going to say it's not an expression of like it's just a thing in this country.
Yeah,
so
it's a thing.
I thought at first it was like a slang term. I was like, well, I've never called anyone a wheelie bin. But I know what a wheelie bin is.
No, it's just that I'd never heard of it before.
Oh, right, yeah. So, in fact, I think we were chatting the other night and I suddenly realised I'd put the wheelie bins out.
Right.
It's just a bin with wheels on the back, a wheelie bin.
Yeah, it's a big garbage can, which is what we call them.
Maybe if you have a lisp or something, you call it a wheelie big bin. A wheelie lovely bin. A wheelie bin.
A wheelie bin.
It's really lovely. And it's a wheelie. It's got wheels on it too.
It's Elmer Fudd bin. Wheelie.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I have a little treat for my listeners and for you too. It's an original song that I've never released, and I wrote it, and I'm going to say it was 2000, maybe 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. But here's the story. This group of people, we got together when we rented this place up in Connecticut, up in the woods. And it's this old, and I mean, I know old means something different to you, but for us, 200 years is old. So it was between 100 and 200 years old, this big, big house with lots of different rooms and a big kitchen. And right outside the entrance is this huge iron bell. And it has only what I can describe as sort of gallows looking, like the bell hangers that are made out of wood.
Oh, wow.
It's not a gallows, but that's just what it reminded me of. It's so big that it requires this frame, that's made out of wood to hold it. And then you can ring it, and it's got a big dinger in it. I don't know what you call those things.
No, a big dinger.
Dinger.
That's very much a very well endowed man.
Ah, okay.
Carry on.
Okay.
If he's got one of those, I'd be very surprised. What were they doing 200 years ago?
So it was New Year's Eve, because I remember we rang the bell at midnight, and I was up there. I did a lot of cooking, believe it or not, and my family, and it snowed right on New Year's Eve. And it was like 6-7 inches, And it was so beautiful. And there's this little path that goes down the hill and through the woods. And then there's a little lake. And there's a trail that goes all the way around it. So it was just this beautiful setting. And it was so quiet. You know, there weren't a lot of kids running around. It was just beautiful. And so I wrote this song. And it's called New England in the Wintertime. So I'll play it for you. Ourselves in peril.
nothing better to be with friends in New England in the wintertime.
Thank you, Cole. I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I just want to say there's something about creating, which is like such a key part, I think, to being a human being, right? To create. I think we all desire that in different ways.
Very much.
I'm always a bit envious with people like yourself because you're a musical talent and I'm not. I can do this.
Yeah, I can't make chocolate,
that's
though.
That's about it.
So.
Well. but it's the same in a way, but it's different, right? Creation's wonderful. But anyway, that song is just saying it. There's something about the British pub that I think in the winter is just spectacular. Because,
I totally agree.
Yeah, when it's cold and it's horrible, but you go into like the Snug, which is like the front of a pub, and you're sitting there at the fire with your mates, just drinking beer and chatting. It's just wonderful, isn't it? It's just a great place to be.
It sure is.
Yeah.
And listen, I got to go, but because I have another podcast to record, but I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being my first guest on this, whatever it is.
On the first. Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah, you're the first. Yeah.
Wow. What an honor. Thank you.
Well, we'll circle back again when I've come up with some new slang words for you to define.
Hang on. Why don't we, if this hasn't got a name, can't we come up with a name?
Oh, I have a name for it. Yeah. It's called No Excuse for Boredom.
No excuse for boredom. There you go. Brilliant. Yeah. Love it.
All right, Dan. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Cole. Have a good evening.
You too. Take care. You're listening to No Excuse for Boredom from noexcuseforboredom.com and wherever you get your podcasts. All the music you're hearing, I've composed and produced myself, unless otherwise noted. I'm solely responsible for creating, recording, editing, and producing this content. If you'd like some help getting your podcast sounding this good, drop me a line at carl@franklins.net or on Mastodon at carlfranklin@techhub.social. If you'd prefer not to hear ads, consider buying me a latte once a month via Patreon, and you'll get ad-free episodes delivered right to the palm of your hand. Go to noexcuse.carlfranklin.com to sign up. And hey, don't take any wooden nickels.